Hello and welcome. We are live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. US says Israel, Washington not behind Iran blast. UN chief strongly condemns attack on Soleimani ceremony in Iran. Iran vows to track down the attackers. Trump appeals to US Supreme Court over Colorado ballot ban that ruled him ineligible for state ballot. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar begins two-day Nepal visit for the 7th meeting of India-Nepal Joint Commission. India ahead in the second test against South Africa after 23 wickets fell and several records broken on day one at Newlands, Cape Town. All right, news in detail now. After the twin attack on the 4th death anniversary of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani shook Iran on Wednesday, Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei vowed revenge for the twin bombings. Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi also condemned the twin blasts that killed nearly 100 people in the country's south, where crowds gathered to mark the 4th death anniversary of General Qasem Soleimani. Raisi said the perpetrators of this inhumane crime will soon be identified and punished for their heinous act by the capable security and law enforcement forces.
Don't doubt it. You will pay the price for this crime. These crimes that you have committed, you will deeply regret.
Meanwhile, White House National Security spokesman John Kirby said on Wednesday that the US has seen no indication that Israel was behind Iran's twin explosions. Listen.
Certainly, our hearts go out to all the innocent victims and their family members who are obviously, their lives are going to be forever changed by this. But we don't have any more detail in terms of how it happened or who might be responsible for it. We have no indication at this time at all that Israel was involved in any way whatsoever.
United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has strongly condemned the Iran bombing. The UN chief called for those responsible to be held accountable.
The Secretary General strongly condemns the attack today on a memorial ceremony in Kerman City in the Islamic Republic of Iran, which reportedly killed more than 100 people and injured many more. The Secretary General calls for those responsible to be held accountable. And the Secretary General expresses his deep condolences to the bereaved families and the people and the government of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and he wishes the injured a speedy recovery.
The US will continue to maintain a significant military force presence in the Middle East amid the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. White House National Security spokesman John Kirby said the US remains focused to defend its national security interests.
The United States remains focused on working with a range of partners to help Israel defend itself, to surge humanitarian assistance to civilians in Gaza, and of course to defend our national security interests in the region. That most certainly includes protecting the free flow of international commerce in the Red Sea. Now, to accomplish these goals, we have established and will continue to maintain a significant force presence in the Middle East.
12 nations led by the United States are jointly warning Yemen's Houthi rebels of unspecified consequences unless they halt attacks on Red Sea shipping vessels. Joint statement issued by US, Australia, Bahrain, Belgium, Canada, Denmark, Germany, Italy, UK, New Zealand, Netherlands, Japan. The statement reads, the Houthis will bear the responsibility of the consequences if they continue to threaten lives, the global economy and free flow of commerce in the region's critical waterways. And the members of the UN Security Council on Wednesday called on Yemen's Houthis to halt their attacks on shipping in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden, saying they threatened regional stability, global freedom of navigation and food supplies. Addressing the Council's first meeting of 2024, Chris Lu, a U.S. representative to the United Nations, said that the United States believes the situation has reached an inflection point.
Today, in light of both the broad support for Council action and continued Houthi attacks, the United States believes that we are at an inflection point. These attacks pose grave implications for maritime security, international shipping, and commerce, and they undermine the fragile humanitarian situation in Yemen, damaging the ability of the international community to deliver assistance to more than 21 million people in need. It is vital that the Council speak, and speak now.
And in our biggest prisoner swap so far, Ukraine and Russia announced their first exchange of prisoners of conflict for nearly 5 months, with more than 200 freed by each side, after what Moscow said was a complex negotiation involving mediation by the United Arab Emirates. Russia's defense ministry said 248 military personnel had been handed over by Ukraine. Despite the lack of any dialogue on how to end the 22-month conflict, Kiev and Moscow have held many prisoner swaps since the early months of Russia's invasion in February 2022. The prisoners embraced their loved ones after being reunited with them following the hostage prisoner swap between Russia and Ukraine. Former U.S. President Donald Trump asked the U.S. Supreme Court to intervene after Colorado's top court disqualified him from the state's Republican primary ballot for engaging in insurrection leading up to January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. The state high court had already put its decision on hold until January 4th, stating that Trump would remain on the ballot if he appealed. In the filing, Trump's lawyers asked the justices to reverse the Colorado Supreme Court because the question of presidential eligibility is reserved for Congress. Trump has also appealed to a Maine state court, a decision by that state's top election official barring him from the primary ballot under the same constitutional provision at issue in the Colorado case. U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson condemned the current migration crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border to seek asylum. At a news conference, he described the situation as heartbreaking and infuriating and an unmitigated disaster, and blasted the Biden presidency for its policies. Though the arrivals have receded in the past week, paving the way for the United States to reopen legal border crossings on Thursday. U.S. and Mexican officials have agreed to strengthen efforts to curb the record migration, with Biden's cabinet scheduled to meet with Mexican leaders in Washington later in January.
America is at a breaking point with record levels of illegal immigration. And today, we got a firsthand look at the damage and the chaos the border catastrophe is causing in all of our communities. The situation here and across the country is truly unconscionable. We would describe it as both heartbreaking and infuriating. Last month alone, we saw the most illegal crossings in recorded history. It is an unmitigated disaster, a catastrophe. And what's more tragic is that it's a disaster of the president's own design.
The death toll from a powerful earthquake in Japan that caused homes to collapse and triggered tsunami warnings rose to 73 on Thursday. The death toll is expected to climb as rescuers battle aftershocks and poor weather to comb through rubble. Search for survivors under collapsed buildings continued. More than 33,000 people have evacuated their homes, and about 1 lakh houses have no water supply. The full extent of damage and casualties remain unclear 3 days after the earthquake. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida announced plans to multiply the number of military and rescue personnel providing relief. Japan's government has opened a sea route to deliver aid, and some larger trucks were now able to reach some of the more remote areas. Now, the Japan Coast Guard plane that collided with a Japan airline jetliner at Tokyo's Haneda Airport did not have permission to enter the runway. According to flight control communications released on Wednesday by Japan's Transport Ministry, Japanese authorities said the Japan Airlines flight was given permission to use the runway, while no clear takeoff approval was given to the Coast Guard plane based on control tower transcripts. All 379 people aboard the Japan Airlines plane were able to evacuate safely, in fact, but 5 of the 6 people on the Coast Guard plane were confirmed dead, the captain surviving. Meanwhile, thousands of passengers were stranded at Tokyo's Haneda Airport on Wednesday following Tuesday's deadly plane collision. Now let's take a look at other stories making news across the world. Floods triggered by Storm Heng continue to batter Britain's East Midlands. The storm has brought power outages. It has also disrupted train services. The authorities have issued a severe weather warning for the region. El Salvador's government has started the demolition of Monument to Reconciliation, saying that the structure glorifies murderers. The monument was unveiled in 2017 to celebrate 25 years since the signing of peace accords between the Salvadoran government and guerrilla organizations. The world's largest cruise ship docked in Puerto Rico ahead of its inaugural journey from Miami. Called Icon of the Seas, the ship is undergoing final inspection to ensure everything is ready for its debut journey. The cruise liner has 20 decks and it can accommodate up to 10,000 people. Elvis Presley fans who missed out on seeing their hero when he was alive will be able to witness the king of rock and roll perform thanks to artificial intelligence. Elvis Evolution will be an immersive, interactive experience for fans to follow events through Presley's life and music. Now, the United Nations has designated 4th January as World Braille Day. Braille is essential in the context of education, freedom of expression and opinion, as well as social inclusion. This day also marks the birth anniversary of inventor of Braille, French educator Louis Braille. DD India correspondent Kriti Vadhera reports.
It is World Braille Day and we are joined by Dr. Bharati from CIT NCRT, and disability inclusion has been her forte. She has spent entire her journey in enabling teachers, educators for inclusive classrooms. Dr. Bharati, we welcome you on World Braille Day. And in India, according to the reports from National Program of Control of Blindness, it is said that 12 billion people are having this impairment of visual impairment, and 29% of the people can only make up to this education system. As an educator, professor by yourself, how do you see that this involvement of visually impaired children or people in classrooms can be enhanced?
While teaching mathematics, if we are doing some worksheet or some activity in the classroom, say for example, in mathematics we often teach children about the shapes, different shapes. So for this, what you have to do here, see, this is a worksheet where the children are expected to match the shapes. Now each shape is made tactile by again adding a favicol. So that is why I say involving children with blindness or visual impairment in the classrooms is so simple as compared to the other disability conditions.
It is seen that the literacy rate when it comes to Braille in education system is just 1%. So what are the measures with which we can actually uplift this literacy rate in terms of Braille literacy?
Yeah, see, you and I being sighted, we learn through print. But for children with blindness and visual impairment, their written mode of expression is through Braille, or which is also known as tactile script, because you touch it and you feel it and you read it through your fingertips. So for that, we need to spread awareness about Braille among the teachers, among the parents, among the siblings and the peers also, and of course children with blindness and visual impairment.
Although it seems a difficult task to educate children with visual impairment, but with such techniques and methodologies and with the right approach of Braille practices in classrooms, teaching and learning can be made easier. With camera person Shiv Suman, I'm Kriti Vadhera reporting from New Delhi for DD India.
All right, with this time for a very short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India Live. North India experiencing extremely cold weather and dense fog. Temperature expected to decline further. Roaring success for Project Cheetah as Namibian cheetah Asha gave birth to 3 cubs at the Kuno National Park. And injury concerns for Novak Djokovic ahead of the Australian Open.
In a world that never stops, where information shapes our reality, one app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights, and authentic.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, during his visit to the southern Indian state of Kerala, took part in a roadshow in Thrissur. Later, PM Modi took part in the BJP Women's Meet in Thrissur, Kerala. Addressing the gathering, PM Modi slammed Congress and left for not giving rightful place to women and ignoring the potential of women power. DD India's Aisha Khanam reports from Thrissur.
की मेरी माता और बहनों, केरला थिल्ले एंडे अम्मा मारे सहोदरी मारे.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi greeted the women gathering in Malayalam before starting his speech. The Prime Minister thanked women for arriving in large numbers to greet him in the land of Thrissur Puram, the world-famous festival.
आजकल देश में मोदी की गारंटी की चर्चा है, लेकिन मैं मानता हूं देश की नारी शक्ति विकसित भारत के संकल्प की सिद्धि की सबसे बड़ी गारंटी है.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauded the sportspersons from India's Kerala who brought laurels to the nation. PT Usha, Anshu Bobby George, actress Shobhana, entrepreneur Beena, cricketer Minu Mani, and Maria Kutti, a widow who took on CPM government to fight for her entitled pension, also shared the dais with Prime Minister. The Prime Minister listed a series of initiatives which he called the Modi Guarantee taken by BJP government in past 10 years to help women.
हमने 11 करोड़ परिवार की बहनों को पाइप से पानी दिया. ये क्यों हुआ? मोदी युडे गारंटी. हमने केरला की 60 लाख महिलाओं के बैंक अकाउंट खोले. ये सफलता कैसे मिली? मोदी युडे गारंटी. हमने 30 करोड़ से अधिक मुद्रा लोन महिला लाभार्थियों को दिए. ये कैसे संभव हुआ? मोदी युडे गारंटी. हमने प्रेगनेंसी लीव को बढ़ाकर 26 हफ्ते किया. इसे किसे संभव बना दिया? मोदी युडे गारंटी. हमने सैनिक स्कूलों में बेटियों की एडमिशन का रास्ता खोला. ये कैसे संभव हुआ? Modi Ude guarantee.
The women from various fields who came to hear Prime Minister Narendra Modi were left inspired and committed to cause of nation building.
Aisha Khanam, DD News, Thrissur.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is on a 2-day visit to Nepal's Kathmandu for the 7th meeting of the India-Nepal Joint Commission. The India-Nepal Joint Commission was established in 1987 and provides a platform for both ministers to review all aspects of bilateral partnership. During the visit, the Indian minister will also call on leadership of Nepal and meet political leaders. Nepal's Minister for Foreign Affairs, Narayan Prakash Saud, held a meeting with former Indian diplomats to discuss Nepal-India relations, seeking suggestions on ways to improve them. Nepal is a priority partner of India under its Neighbourhood First policy. And Indian Navy continues to monitor maritime security situation in north-central Arabian Sea and Gulf of Aden. Indian naval ships and aircraft remain mission deployed for maintaining enhanced surveillance and undertaking maritime security operations. In the last 1 week, Indian naval task groups have investigated a large number of fishing vessels and boarded vessels of interest. Indian Navy remain committed towards ensuring safety of merchant shipping and seafarers in the region. The Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra is being undertaken across India with the aim to inform people about the government welfare measures by ensuring that their benefits reach the targeted beneficiaries in a time-bound manner. The Yatra has arrived at districts of Palampur in the northern Indian state of Himachal Pradesh. The local communities responded to it with great enthusiasm and active engagement. On this occasion, several beneficiaries shared their progressive stories under the segment Meri Kahani, Meri Zubani. Now let's take a look at other stories making news today. North India is currently experiencing extremely cold weather and dense fog. Very dense fog has been observed in specific areas of eastern Uttar Pradesh, western Madhya Pradesh and Bihar. Several flight operations at the Indira Gandhi International Airport in India's capital New Delhi face significant delays as thick fog enveloped the region, severely hampering visibility and disrupting the normal schedule. And kite preparation in India started ahead of Makar Sankranti. The festival is celebrated with kite flying across the country and marks the beginning of the auspicious period of Uttarayan. Foreign tourists experience the tradition and folk art culture in the Indian southern state of Tamil Nadu as they enjoy the Indian dance festival at Mahabalipuram in the Chengalpattu district. Namibian cheetah Asha has given birth to 3 cubs at the Kuno National Park located in Madhya Pradesh state. India's Environment and Foreign Minister Bhupendra Yadav announcing on social media platform X wrote, "This is a roaring success for Project Cheetah and vision by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to restore ecological balance." Now, the Reserve Bank of India on Wednesday released a draft circular proposing new rules for the declaration of dividends by banks and the remittance of profits to the head office by foreign bank branches. These guidelines will be effective for declaration of dividends for the financial year 2024-2025 and onwards. There are minimum prudential requirements for the banks to be eligible to declare dividends or remit profits. These other banks shall have met the applicable regulatory capital requirement for each of the last 3 financial years, including the financial year for which the dividend is proposed. Also, the net NPA ratio for the financial year for which the dividend is proposed should be less than 6%. And the bank should be compliant with the applicable laws by the Reserve Bank and not have any RBI restrictions on the bank for declaration of dividends or remittance of profits. India's Union Minister for Commerce Piyush Goyal on Wednesday attended the Atmanirbhar Bharat Utsav event in the national capital New Delhi. During the event, the Union Minister along with the External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar felicitated the winners of the One District, One Product. While addressing the gathering, Piyush Goyal said that India is the fastest growing economy in the world and that by 2047, India would possibly become a $35 trillion economy.
We are the fastest growing large economy in the world. And all international estimates suggest that for many years to come, possibly for some decades to come, India, which has a young population, which has high management and skills, talent in the young people of India, will continue to be a fast or possibly the fastest growing economy in the world.
Now, American investment bank Goldman Sachs revised India's current account deficit forecast for the year 2024 to 1.3% of the GDP from 1.9%. The US bank expects services exports to continue surprising on the upside, while crude oil prices are expected to decline, improving external balances. Goldman Sachs also revised India's current account deficit forecast for 2023 to 1% of the country's GDP from 1.3% estimated earlier. Goldman Sachs has projected an overall balance of payment surplus of $39 billion in financial year 2024, but this is expected to decline to $27 billion in the year 2024-2025. Well, sports now. We'll start with cricket. India is ahead in the second test against South Africa after 23 wickets and several records fell on day one at Newlands, Cape Town. South Africa was 62 for 3 in their second innings, trailing the tourists by 36 runs. Aiden Markram remains unbeaten on 36 and David Bedingham is on 7. They will hope to bat on and set India a challenging target on the second day. Earlier, seamer Mohammad Siraj took a career best of 6 wickets for 15 runs as the visitors skittled the host for 55 in the first innings, after the latter elected to bat on a wicket, offering plenty of assistance to the bowlers. India was going well at 153 for 4 in reply before they lost 6 wickets without scoring a run, the first time that has happened in tests. The list of unwanted milestones did not stop there for the visitors, as they had 6 batsmen dismissed for duck, which equalled the previous record. The first 2 innings lasted 349 balls, the second fewest in 147 years of Test cricket. The only shorter instance was 287 deliveries between Australia and England in 1902. In South Africa's second innings, Mukesh Kumar took 2 wickets for 25. He grabbed Elgar's wicket and that of Tony De Zorzi, while Jasprit Bumrah removed debutant Tristan Stubbs. Now, world number 1 Novak Djokovic expects to be back in full shape for the Australian Open starting next week after a wrist injury prevented him from finding his best level during a 6-4, 6-4 defeat by Alex de Minaur. Djokovic suffered his first defeat in Australia for 6 years as de Minaur put the host on course for a 2-0 win over Serbia in the United Cup quarterfinals. However, the record 10-time Australian Open winner appeared optimistic about overcoming the wrist issue ahead of the first Grand Slam of the season. The 2024 Australian Open will be played between January 14th to 28th. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly Twitter and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.